Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Shadowwraith, and today I'm going to be going over how to write a list that is ready for a competitive event, or just a competitive list in general. But first of all, I just wanted to say, I've just found out from the Warhammer community page that the web store, depending on your location, will start opening from Friday, which is really good. That is fantastic news, so we can start possibly getting our hobby essentials, because I have run out of Chaos Black Primer, which is absolutely horrendous. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that good news in case anyone hadn't picked that up, and of course it depends on your location. So yeah, how do I write a competitive list? Well, basically there's a few things I'll think about in my head, so there's a little checklist you want to have in your head. First of all, if you're going to an event, have a look and see if they release what scenarios you'll be playing. A lot of events don't release them until way too close to the event, so this is just a maybe, because I have gone to a couple, and these are smaller events. This is not Warhammer World, because they're usually quite late. Yeah, I look to see if they tell me what scenarios will be featured. So if I know I'm going to definitely be playing like Clash by Moonlight, I probably won't bring a full shooty list, because it'll be nerfed for the first few turns, and then they do get a buff towards later. Or if it's going to be a lot of objective grabbing, I'm going to be bringing a bit more of a horde list, so less elite. So play to the scenarios as best you can if they are available. So that's the first check. Done. Second, and I'll put this in, put a banner in your list. 100% put a banner. Because there are scenarios that you get like 2 victory points if you have a banner and your enemy don't, or something like that, or just 1 if you just have a banner, even if your enemy does. But if you don't have a banner and your enemy does, and that is one of the objectives, that you can there's a very high chance they will keep that banner alive, because they can pass it on to warrior, and you're giving them 2 free victory points for no reason. It's 25 points, which is quite expensive, but there are a lot of heroes available with inbuilt banners. So like the Serpent Lord for Serpent Horde, he comes with an inbuilt banner. That's perfect, but make sure it is a banner, not a count as in range of a banner like King Elisar has, because that won't count. I thought I'd put that on there because it's quite important, and you don't want to be giving away free victory points. So next one, you want a pretty solid leader, okay? So by solid, I don't mean he's the one-man army, he's going to take on everyone. But bear in mind, go back to thinking of scenarios. If you've got one where it counts on how many kills your warlord gets, you definitely want a warlord that can kill. So don't have Saruman, because he won't get you any points for that. So, which I think can be slightly unfair. I get why they've done it, because you could not people prone and kill loads of stuff with magic spells. I don't know. I think you should be able to get victory points for it, or count as kills for magic, because it's not broken in this edition at all. And when I say tough and strong, I mean they can survive, because you will give up a lot of victory points if you've got the squishiest leader in the world that will die to like a couple of warriors, or even minor heroes like Saruman. Again, Saruman is okay, I like him, he's a good spellcaster, but if he gets caught in combat by something as simple as a Muhard Tribes Master, he's gonna die, or at least take a wound, probably, and that's not good. That's not good for you. So you want something tough, so either have high armor or have ways of evading. So you've got the Corsairs, you've got Dalamar, who's got the Stalk Unseen special rule, so you can hide him. And he's not... he can kill. He's got pretty good killing potential with the +1 to wound for trapped and stuff like that. And he can transfix people with the smoke bombs. But he can also hide if he needs to. And the other point is, you can have a squishier leader if they've got heroic defense. If you have heroic defense, then you get into a situation where you've got, King Elisar in on you, and you're probably going to lose your leader. Boom, smash out the heroic defense. I've made that mistake in a recent battle, where I decided to try and heroic move, when instead I should have just taken the charge and heroic defense. Because natural 6s to wound me, I would not have lost my leader, and I lost my leader. But everyone makes mistakes. So, hey ho, learn from my mistakes. That's why I'm doing videos like this. Then, moving on from that, we want, ideally, a non-elite list as much as possible. By non-elite, I'm just saying, like, don't get me wrong, I love some elite armies. Things like the Eagles, they're really fun to play. And they can be competitive to an extent, but they will struggle with quite a few of the scenarios. The Champions of Erebor, they will struggle with some scenarios, things like Storm the Camp or Reconnoiter or just grabbing objectives. Because if you're getting out-hoarded by a bunch of goblin mercenaries, they're going to grab the objectives of you. And sometimes, some of the scenarios are, you count how many people are closest to the centre objective. And even if you break your enemy or whatever, but they still have 3 times the amount of models you do within 6 inches of that objective, they're going to get a ridiculous amount of VPs and you're going to probably lose the game. So yeah, that's to bear in mind. It's not great having elite, but obviously there are some elite armies, like Army of the Dead, I would consider quite elite, because you're looking at probably 700 points, like max 30 models. Or Elves can be quite elite, but I do think they can be quite cheap as well for what they can do. Yeah, there are quite a few elite armies, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I have seen things like Ents win events, but they're smaller events, and I don't know what players they play against. I didn't watch the game, but I just know they came first, because I didn't in that particular event. So yeah. Now, this is probably one of the second most important rule. You want to play to your army strengths, okay? So, by that, I mean things like Corsairs of Umbar. I know I bring them up a lot, but I do play with them quite a lot. Their army bonus is they get +1 to wound if the enemy's trapped. To trap enemies, it is a lot easier to do if I've got a lot of Corsairs. So I'm not going to be bringing a super... No, it can't go too elite, but I wouldn't go for like as many crossbows as I possibly could, then chuck in as many heroes as I possibly could, followed by some hero allies with just Reavers, because it can get quite expensive. I'd go for as many Corsairs as I can, and probably stick in maybe like 10 more elite things, so like 10 Reavers, 10 to 15 Reavers, and then you bring in like a bosun to lead them, or 2 bosuns, or whatever, and then you can have a couple of heroes. But yeah, you play to their strengths. So you got like Moria. Obviously, they can play in different ways, but they're quite commonly used as a horde army. So you've got a very expensive hero, which is the Balrog, who like pretty much runs your army, makes no one run away ever, and then you just fill his warband full of goblins. And he's a hero of legend, so you've got 18 goblins straight away, and you bring in some minor goblins along with him, heroes, and you just fill them up with goblins, and maybe another like hard hitter, maybe a cheap monster or something, like the Dweller in the Dark. Absolutely fantastic model for his points. He can really kill stuff. So yeah, you got to play to your strengths. You got Angmar, who plays all off courage and things like that. Yeah. But alongside that, it goes with army selection. You've got to play to your style of playing. So everyone has a style. If you want to be quick and nippy around and like being where you need to be, you can go for a more Rohan mounted list. Whilst if you like slowly trudging up and controlling things at a steady pace and not dying, you can go for things like Dwarves, Iron Hills, Khazad-dûm. Yeah, whatever your playstyle is. If you prefer shooty, go shooty. That's fine. You've got Mirkwood with the Rangers with no bow limit, or the Serpent Horde Gunline, as I like to call it. Yeah, there's loads of ways to play this game. There is one thing though on this checklist that you do need to bring, and that is some killing power. By that I mean you need to have at least a few units or warriors or heroes that will be able to kill. So, good example, Easternlings. They can really struggle to kill because they're only strength 3 and that's it. Their cavalry are solid, they're high defense, but they're still strength 3. So alongside something like that, you probably want to bring in some allies, so maybe some Morgul Knights with their lances. Really good killing power. Even the chariots, because they're all like strength 4. and they've got 2 impact hits at strength 4 and the guy on top strength 4. That's killing power. Anything with axes or burly or... yeah, you need some killing power in your list. Because if you don't have some, and you come against Iron Hills, for example, you're going to really struggle. Because you'll just probably bounce off them. But yeah, that's quite important. Even if you rely on heroes to do killing powers, that's better than nothing. Because Minotaur Warriors, they aren't really killy, but you have got the option for knights. If you, for some reason, really don't want any knights, you can kind of rely on Aragorn to kill a lot of stuff, along with maybe the Avenger Bolt Thrower, stuff like that. Stuff you know has got high strength or some kind of wacky rule to allow you to wound easier. And I chuck this because this is what I think of in my lists. Depending on the army, obviously, because if you're playing Army of the Dead, you can... it's hard to be too versatile, but it's versatility. So by versatility, I mean you want a little bit of a mix of everything to play 2 different scenarios. So, good example actually, Army of the Dead is an okay example of what I do. I know they're expensive, but I do bring in a few Riders of the Dead. For about 700 points, I brought 3 Riders in my last list, and they are simply for either denying people from charging when I do get priority, if I need that movement, running off to grab objectives, things like that. And it's really useful. And then if you need to run off the opponent's board edge, I've got 3 models I can just bomb up there and chuck them off the board edge, because 3 is better than none. Yeah, you want to be able to do a mixture of things. I'd definitely bring some shooting if you've got the option available to you, because if your enemy can shoot at you but you can't shoot back, they'll be quite happy, if the situation allows it, the scenario, for them to sit back and shoot you as you slowly approach, keep shooting you, back off, keep shooting you. They will, and you will lose models. Even if you're defense 8, there is still a chance they will roll like 6s by 5s and they'll pick off a few people. They could even target like your heroes on horses and maybe take off their horse in those few turns at the start where you're moving up to them. So if you've got some counter fire, it will kind of give them an incentive to want to get into combat as well. Especially if you've got better firepower. If you're bringing things like arbalisters or crossbows for Isengard, they are fantastic for it because everyone's terrified of them. And rightly so, because they're strength 4. And they're pretty nuts. You can't move and shoot. That's my only thing I get upset about with them. But they're still fantastic. Because you can not only kill stuff a lot easier than you can with a bow, but there's also the area denial factor they have. Because if I've got a lane that I can shoot my crossbows down, chances are they're not going to run their hero through that lane, just in case I do hit them, and I do hit their horse, and I kill their horse quite easily, or I get the cheeky wound off on them. Because it's strength 4, and strength 4 is pretty big in this game. Because most things are strength 3. As soon as you hit strength 4, you're killing stuff a hell of a lot easier. And now for my most important aspect I focus on when I'm writing a competitive list, is I need to know what this list is going to do. For example, I know that my list for Serpent Horde is going to be very quick whilst raining fire on the enemy. So I'm going to have my Haradrim Riders running around wherever they want with the gun line behind them, pressuring the enemy where I need to pressure them. I know that's what they're going to do. So they can go more, not really hit and run, but kind of like I know where I want to strike whilst still pressuring at a distance. I know I can sit back if I want to whilst pressuring with my poison missiles. Yeah, I know what they're doing. I know what I've built them to do. The Khazad-dûm, I know my list is going to be very killy because I've got a lot of Hearthguard in it. And I want them to get in and kill a lot of stuff whilst being shielded by Vault Wardens who take up the flanks, who can fight off cavalry, or I can try and get them in. I mix them in with them so I know they can tank hits from very big enemies, from things like trolls. It's stuff like that. You need to know what you're going to do. So if you're going for a full shooty list, know that you are building a shooty list. It sounds silly when I say it out loud, but trust me, I've gone against armies where they've gone with Mirkwood Rangers, and they've got Knife Fighter, but they've built a list for shooting. and they're trying to get into combat, and they're moving their rangers quite far because they're trying to flank me or something like that. And it's like, you should be shooting me this whole time. You should make me come to you if the situation allows it, which it did. It was all about kill points. He just needed to shoot me, wait for me to rock up, and then get into combat. Sure, he could even melt away with his elven cloaks if he wanted to and keep shooting me. He could have kited me the whole game, but he didn't. So, hey ho. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. That's how I write a competitive list. I go over the checks. So you've got to play to the scenarios. First check, if they're available. Make sure you bring a banner of some kind. Have a tough leader who can survive. Not going too elite. And by elite, again, I mean don't go hero heavy. A lot of people go hero heavy. It's not a good tactic, because heroes don't always roll 6s. Trust me, I know this. Damn you, Aragorn. Play to your army strengths and your playstyle. Make sure you put in some killing power. Make sure it's versatile. Add at least a little bit of shooting if you have it available to your army. And know what your list is built to do. So that's all I wanted to say, really. I will go over some of my lists in another video, just in case anyone's interested, and so people can put in the comments below what they think is good about my list and what they think is bad, and I can then respond telling them what the list actually has done. So yeah, that's it really. And if you think I've missed anything on this, or if you don't agree with something, please let me know in the comments section down below. Failing that, I do have a Discord server, and you will find the link to that down below in the section below. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.